Before you listen to the Tech Talk Daily podcast, I have to ask, are the high levels of uncertainty you're experiencing keeping you from making bold moves? Are you able to clearly see and act on the game-changing opportunities the pandemic has created? I'm Daniel Burris, serial entrepreneur, global technology futurist, and disruptive innovation expert, and right now, you have a choice to make. You can react to problems and disruptions after they happen, or you can learn to accurately anticipate disruptions before they disrupt and identify and pre-solve problems before they happen, giving you the ability to turn disruptive change into your biggest advantage. If you want to take control of your future and make a significant impact now and in the years ahead, join thousands of leaders from around the world by becoming a member of my Anticipatory Leader System, where you'll get the latest insights, processes, tools, and virtual coaching that will give you the certainty and confidence you need to actively shape a better future for you and your organization. Go to techblogwriter.co.uk and click on Daniel Burris.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, and do I have a treat for you today? Because I was feeling a little bit tired, maybe even feeling a little old and worn down by life, but then I had the pleasure of speaking to Greg Copeland today, who is 82 years old, and his passion for tech and entrepreneurship just shined brighter than ever. And although he is officially the oldest guest to come on this podcast, he had more energy than many guests that we've had on here, so I wanted to learn more about his story and the lessons he learned along the way. So Greg Copeland is the founder of FileBank, a multi-million-dollar-a-year enterprise which manages physical and digital assets for the likes of the Metropolitan Opera, Doctors Without Borders and the New York City Ballet, among more than 300 regional schools and others, all from its massive archive centre in Oakland, New Jersey, which has grown exponentially during these hard times, mostly because companies are increasingly looking for a way to move their physical files to digital assets. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to New Jersey and join a conversation with Greg and me from FileBank. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
My name is Greg Copeland, and I am president and CEO of a company called FileBank, which is an entity in northern New Jersey that has a archive center that we call the Vault, where we store physical objects such as paper documents, artwork, wines, anything of value to our clients, costumes, Muppets, puppets, etc. We have a data center that connects all this and connects to the world of the future and the world of the present with data transmissions through the cloud, called a software as a service vendor.
Love that. And since 1987, FileBank Solutions have helped many companies streamline their operations, reduce overhead costs, support compliance initiatives, and help their employees to operate more efficiently. But can you expand on that? I mean, who else are your customers and what problems are you solving with technology for them?
Well, some obvious ones. Well, we service the largest school system in New Jersey called Newark Board of Ed. We've taken thousands of their employee HR files and took them from physical, which was almost impossible to manage, put away, retrieve, keep track of, not misplace. We put them into a digital environment so that they're available instantly. We service a lot of schools and municipalities, but we also service the arts. But another school would be a story about East Orange Board of Ed. The HR manager had a very neat department, but it was obviously filled from every corner and cranny with another record of some personnel file. And we assured her that we would take care of her children as she treated them, and we would, within 3 weeks, had emptied out all the file cabinets, put them all online. She was able to retrieve them instantly, and she became one of our biggest advocates. Now, in the arts world, we service the Metropolitan Opera here in the United States. We keep track of their costumes and their props. they can log in, request Othello or Lucia d'Alamore, and those costumes or props will be at the loading dock ready for them to pick up the next day if it's a normal performance. The Muppets, which is part of the Disney World, we have 69,000 items of puppet materials. So they can log in and say, what did Miss Piggy wear to such and such event? Because I want her earrings and that dress delivered to us. And we match up physical image with a digital image, and so they can pull it and have it when they need it. So those are some of the events, some of the types of things that we've accomplished for companies.
And I'm curious, do you have any use cases that you could possibly share that will just bring everything that you've just mentioned there to life for people that are hearing about you guys for the first time?
Well, we just had a video that was done by our local news channel 12 about what we've accomplished in the 30-some years that we've been in existence. We started with a $5,000 loan from my father, and 40 years later, we have a magnificent vault, and all of these items are protected all in one place. So people like the municipalities and schools can find their documents instantly.
And I believe you're also getting interest from local governments that are looking to leverage the US CARES Act, which can offer reimbursements for those looking to digitize in response to COVID-19. But it sounds incredibly cool, especially right now when this is needed more than ever. But can you expand on that?
Not only do we supply a package for the CARES package, but we're also GSA, Government Service Administration, certified so that these municipalities can buy from us without having to go out to bid because we've been pre-selected at a low price. We offer a $100,000 package for $20,000. What do they get for that? They get a high-speed scanner that sits at the main office desktop and can scan documents that are configured into their usage, auto-index it, and scan it into the cloud and put it away. Then it's retrievable by anybody on the system. Any employee who has a username in the system, and we offer unlimited users to be able to access it so they can see, drag and drop documents into the central system, view any documents that have been scanned in, and work from home. And we, in another enticement, scan 350,000 pages in that package for $20,000. So we basically allow everybody to connect through a central system, be able to sort, find whatever they're looking for.
And for any techies listening, if we dare to look under the hood of everything that you supply here, can you tell me a little bit more about the technology that helps you solve the problems of your customers too?
We take customers' paper forms and design them into e-forms, which means they're 90% more accurate than a paper form, because on a paper form you have signatures you can't read, words you can't decipher, places, items left out, but in an e-form that's all accurate. And that e-form is transported at 306,000 miles per hour through workflow to the appropriate user and to the line of business applications that the client has, and we connect to that line of business. Now, one of the things that are unique on our system is that everything is in one place. Physical objects, blueprints, digital documents, locations of physical objects. We claim that they will save 200 to 300,000 each and every year they use our system.
And it has been an incredibly turbulent year and a very difficult year for small businesses on both sides of the pond that we're talking here. But as a family and veteran-owned small business, what have been your biggest challenges this year?
Training those that are resistant to adapt, or those that are not prepared to move forward, and they want to stay with one foot in the past and put one foot in the future. And it's like trying to coach them, handhold them, and bring them forward, because the light at the end of the tunnel is so worthy of looking at. But sometimes they're just afraid, and a lot of it has to do with age. The younger they are, the more adept. The young people are pushing the older people to go forward, but older people are conservative and pushing back.
And it's quite amusing to hear you say that, though, because you're an 82-year-old entrepreneur who's helping big companies digitize their files. So I just love
That
your
is
passion.
not true. That's inaccurate. I'm going to be 83 in February, so I can no longer claim to be 82.
I love that. And I love your passion and enthusiasm for tech shines brighter than ever. But what are the biggest lessons that you've learned in your career for anybody listening to this podcast who could be listening anywhere in the world? What advice would you offer on the lessons that you've learned?
In undergraduate school, I was a design and art history major, so I've had a passion for the arts. And when I was about 26 years old, I made my first acquisition to my collection. I purchased a bronze vase, and I believe it's from 1550, and I'm not sure whether it's Japanese or Chinese. And I want to take it to an appropriate party to have it evaluated. But what is missing is the receipt that I didn't keep track of in 50-some years ago. And I realized how important a little document like that has such meaning today. So that was an example of something I learned that I reflect upon. I had a client, a hospital, who was brought to court for malpractice of some sort. And because they couldn't produce the medical records, the judge determined that they were hiding information and made a judgment of $1.2 million because they couldn't produce a document. That they subsequently came to us, and we kept $1.5 million of their medical records, and they always were able to find something when they needed it. Another story that I reflect upon was a judge ruled that he wanted to see the actual physical document, not the printed copy of it, to verify that the ink matched the signature and looked like it wasn't a forgery. So the physical and the digital make up our world, and they support our systems. And because they're so fast, the digital can be used today, and the paper can support the past.
Absolutely love that. And like I said a few moments ago, it has been an incredibly difficult year, but you've obviously seen and learned from so many different economic downturns, and throughout life there are those tremendous highs and those tremendous dips too, like a roller coaster ride. But what is it that makes you hopeful about the future?
Well, I was in China in 2007, and I was taken with a tour into a group, and we were looking at a small display about the size of a large chessboard. And we thought, well, what's so important about this board? And then all at once it came to life with 3D holographic figures talking to each other, moving about, and recreated. And I thought, that reminds me, my father said to me back in the 50s, someday TVs will be the whole wall, and they'll be three-dimensional, and they'll be projected of some sort. And I think that is probably a future for education, for entertainment. I think there's so many exciting things coming in the future that's going to be as exciting 10 years from now as it was 10 years ago. I just see nothing but the future blossoming.
I love that.
You have to keep me around to see it.
Well, for
I have
anyone,
to drink a lot of pints with you.
well, I'll hold you to that. For anyone listening that would like to find out more information about FileBank, read more about your personal story and your journey, or even contact a member of your team, what's the best way of doing that?
Through our website, www.filebankinc.com. FileBankinc.com. Somebody would be happy to answer questions. There's tech solution for if you want to have communication, videos, white papers, all types of stuff about us.
Well, I'll add all those links to the blog post that will accompany this podcast episode. But what I love more than anything about today's conversation is you're in the US, though I'm over here in the UK, and we're going to spread this conversation far and wide throughout the world. And I don't think you realize just how many people you're going to inspire with your passion for technology at nearly 83 years of age. And I, for one, am going to remember this conversation, and I'm going to try and I'll be happy to try and match you there. But more than anything, just a big thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Send me that invite for the pub, and I'll come and we'll have the pint.
What a great guy. And I tell you, if I'm as passionate about tech, entrepreneurship, and still chatting to you at 82 years of age, I will be a very happy man. And I genuinely hope that he has inspired you today too. And the human stories behind these tech companies is what this podcast is all about. And I want to invite you on here to share your story too. So please, questions, thoughts, whatever it may be, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk, where we'll do it all again. So a big thank you to Greg for joining me on the podcast today. And even bigger thank you to each and every one of you for joining me too. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.